How is he only a 90 overall? You have Richard Sherman, some old man who can't run for jack.
You need to put respect on Zach Ertz's name and a bunch of other tight ends that should be higher than Rob Gronkowski.
The man hasn't played since 2018. He's not going to be the NL MVP.
And then he goes onto an Instagram live where he seems to have been under the influence, smoking a cigar.
I don't think MVP is indicative of the best player in the league.
Welcome back to GOAT Chat. We are back here with episode number 33. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well, and comment what you want to hear us talk about in the upcoming weeks. We did just post a new schedule out on Instagram. Go check that out. We have school coming up, and we decided to change the days. We're still going to do 2, but we're changing the days to reflect on the NFL season, to kind of preview and review games while touching on all of the other sports that you guys love. We're on episode 33. We got to go with the number. Tommy, who do you have for 33?
See, this was a tough one, Matt, because there's 2 really good baseball players I'd like to go with. I think that I'm going to go with Eddie Murray this week. He had a great career with Baltimore, with the Orioles. He had 3,200 hits, over 500 home runs. He was a .287 career hitter with Baltimore. And he was just outstanding. He helped them win a World Series. And when he came up, he won the Rookie of the Year, 8-time All-Star. And he was really good in the field as well at first base, won 3 Gold Gloves. And obviously in the Hall of Fame, Eddie Murray, outstanding player. So that's who I'm going to go with this week.
Eddie Murphy was great in Shrek too. So guys, check that out. Connor, who are you going to go with at 33?
So this was a difficult decision. It was really hard to pick between 2 different basketball players. Tommy, you had the wrong word there. Basketball players. No, it was definitely between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Larry Bird for me, and ultimately I went with Larry Bird. The 12 All-Star appearances, the 3-time NBA champ, 3-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 3-time All-Defensive. He's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he is who started the NBA's push into the 3-points. He is the one who really started that push, and now we live in an NBA that is all about the 3-point ball. And Larry Bird kind of started that entire movement back there when he was playing in the 80s and 90s. So Larry Bird is a person who has changed the game. And if you change a game, if you change a sport, you're a GOAT in yourself. So that's why Larry Bird is my GOAT of the week.
Mike, who are you going to go with?
Excuse me.
Mike, who are you going to go with?
I was really thinking about Larry Bird. I was really thinking about it. I just think that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's longevity of staying excellent throughout the whole of his career just puts him above Larry Bird. Larry Bird's career was cut short because of his back. I mean, he had like a 50-year-old back and a 30-year-old body. It was really bad, but I got to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here. 6-time MVP, most MVPs of all time, 6-time NBA champ, 11-time All-Defensive, 2-time Finals MVP. This guy is the leader in NBA history for total points scored. I mean, one of the best centers of all time. It's kind of hard to pick between him and Larry Bird, because if Larry Bird played 3 or 4 more years, I probably would have picked Larry Bird. I think he's the only player to ever win 3 MVPs in a row. So it's really tough to pick between them, but I got to go with Kareem, especially with I already know who I'm going to pick for the next episode. So especially for that.
Yeah, I've got to agree with Mike. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, everything that Mike said, including that he kind of invented one of the most lethal shots in the NBA history. I mean, that skyhook was absolutely unbelievable. He's a 19-time All-Star, and he actually finished in the top 5 of MVP voting 15 times in his career. This guy was one of the best. I mean, can you include him in the GOAT conversation? That's a whole different story. I think that he could be 3rd or 4th in that, and we've obviously talked about MJ and LeBron, but he was just absolutely amazing. I have to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here.
Yeah, I mean, these are all really good picks. Another name that I was surprised that Tommy kind of wasn't picking between for baseball is Larry Walker. Larry Walker wore 33. He was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, he didn't get that induction ceremony, obviously, because of the coronavirus. But next year, he will be formally inducted into the Hall of Fame. And he had a really good career there in Colorado and Montreal. And he was great man in the league.
But not only Larry Walker, there are so many other players from different leagues. You got Patrick Roy from the NHL, one of the best goalies of all time. You got Tony Dorsett from the NFL. You could even bring up Patrick Ewing and Scottie Pippen from the NBA. I mean, even though they don't necessarily match up with the likes of the names that we just mentioned, these guys are people who have made their stamp in sports history.
Yeah, you could add Jamal Adams to that list too for being a baby.
Oh my gosh. Never gonna stop talking about it.
We love the Jamal Adams slander here on Go Chat. But does anyone else have anything to say?
No, I'm gear up. It's going to be a really good episode. Welcome back to Go Chat. As you guys know, we film on Sundays. So today we are 1 week away from the NFL opening weekend. Obviously, the first game's on Thursday where we got Houston and Kansas City. We will have a good episode coming out for you guys on Thursday. This week is going to be completely devoted to the NFL. This episode, we're going to kind of talk about our division predictions, who's going to win, maybe some sleepers, maybe some busts that we think. And then Thursday, we have another special episode for you. We're in another fantasy league with 2 other podcasts. We got Agree to Disagree and Dribbling Around. And then we have one of our other friends from Marab. So we definitely got an entire week devoted to the NFL. We're all super excited. Maybe Tommy's a little less excited, but the NFL is back and we're going to dive right into it. So I guess, should we start with the AFC? Sure. AFC East. Tommy, you're wearing the green. I guess, can I throw it to you first?
Of course, yeah. I'm going to go with the Bills, I think, in the AFCs. They have a really strong roster, and obviously the Patriots, they lost Tom Brady. And I still think that the Patriots are going to be competitive there in that division, but I don't think they're going to win. And the addition of Stephon Diggs for the Bills, I think, will be big for him. So that's who I have in the East.
Matt, are you going to agree with Tommy here?
No, I'm gonna roll with the Patriots. I think this will be a tight division. Nonetheless, I can even see the Jets or the Dolphins doing something. But I'm gonna roll with the Patriots. I think Cam Newton, he was an MVP. I think he could possibly get to the MVP caliber. I think that he could work well with Belichick. And I'm just worried about Josh Allen's deep ball inaccuracy because we know Stephon Diggs loves to go deep and he could be a really big deep zone threat. So, yes, the Bills can win. But I think it all depends on Josh Allen.
Mike, who's your pick here?
I think it's the Bills here. Could I see the Patriots winning this division? Sure, but I think it's very unlikely. Not only did they downgrade at quarterback, they have like 8 players opting out of the season, so I think that's another big hit. Plus, you have all their losses in free agency with Kyle Van Noy, who was their leading tackler last year, and then Jamie Collins. So I got to go with the Bills here. They only got better while the Patriots got worse.
Well, I'm going to actually agree with Matt here. I think it's going to be the Patriots division. I think Buffalo had such low expectations last year, and then they came out and they kind of excelled. And now I think that they have such high expectations. I think they're going to underwhelm. I think with all this pressure on them now, they're considered one of the top teams in the NFL, and that's not where Buffalo has been for the recent years. I think all that pressure could get to still a young quarterback in Josh Allen. I think he's going to underperform. And I don't think the addition of Stephon Diggs, it's great, and he may be able to get quite a bit of addition from Stephon Diggs, but it may not matter if Josh Allen's under a lot of pressure. So I'm going to roll with New England. They still have Bill Belichick at the realms. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you put in there at quarterback. I mean, definitely Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but with Bill Belichick's system, and they still have a great defense no matter losing Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins. I think this is New England's division to lose.
Okay, let's move on to the next division. Let's move on to the AFC North. Excuse me. Matt, who do you got in the AFC North?
I think that this is rather easy. It's the Baltimore Ravens.
Tommy?
I agree with Matt. The Ravens, I think, will win this quite easily. Lamar Jackson won the MVP last year. I think he's going to build on it. So I got the Ravens.
Connor, what you got?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Why? Let us know.
I'm not a fan of the Baltimore Ravens. I completely think, I've said it on this podcast before, I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to have another season like he did last season. And I don't think Baltimore's another one of those teams, I think, where they have all these high expectations now. I don't see it. I think Ben Roethlisberger has been gearing up this offseason. I think this may be his last season. He's gearing up for one last hurrah. Juju is going to have a breakout year because he has his quarterback back. James Conner is looking to get back in there. I'm telling you, this may be a shot in the dark here, but I see Pittsburgh winning this division.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Ravens here. I'm gonna have to disagree. Although I have the Steelers as one of my wild card teams, I don't think that they're gonna beat the Ravens out for the division. They only got better this offseason. They had Patrick Queen and J.K. Dobbins in the draft, and then Calais Campbell to the line. I think those are a lot of big additions, especially defending the run, which they had trouble doing against Derrick Henry. And I don't know. I just don't. Even though I like the Steelers, I just don't think that they are gonna have enough to compete with Baltimore.
Matt, you don't have to be shooting me daggers down there.
I mean, it's not even like Lamar Jackson has to do what he did last year
Yeah.
to win the division. They were like, what, 13-3? Yeah.
14-2.
They're 14.
They just added more pieces around him.
You were 13.
J.K. Dobbins. I know you love J.K. Dobbins. You can't tell me you don't love J.K. Dobbins.
I do, but I mean,
I think they could be very run heavy with those two backs and still win the division.
And Marquise Brown, he had a Jones fracture last year, so he was playing with a piece of metal in his foot. He finally got that piece of metal out. Now all the reports coming out of camp is that he's just as explosive as before, and he's put on 15 pounds of muscle. So look out for a big breakout year from him.
And I'm not even trying to say the Steelers are bad. They're literally one of my wild card teams. I can't see the Ravens losing this division.
This division could be the best division in football. I really believe it. I think I give Cleveland one more year to prove it. If they can't do something this year, then I think the ship has sailed on Baker Mayfield and Odell in Cleveland and all that stuff. But I think if they can put something together this year, they're going to right the ship.
Mm-hmm. I believe in Cleveland this year. We'll get into it a little later, but I think it's time to move on to the AFC West unless you guys have any other thoughts on the North. No? Okay, AFC West. Who you got? We got the defending Super Bowl champs. Got some other decent teams. Tommy, I'll go with you first.
Yeah, that's who I'm going to go with, the defending champs. I got the Chiefs. I just think that, Patrick Mahomes, he's going to lead them to another title this year. Well, I don't know necessarily the title, but I think definitely a division title. So I'm going with the Chiefs.
Connor?
Going with the Chargers. I'm just kidding.
Shut up.
No more daggers, please. It's got to be Kansas City. I mean, the big extension in the offseason is even more fire into Patrick Mahomes' confidence. He's just going to go out there. He's going to explode. I don't see any downfall for Patrick Mahomes in any years to come. I say this is a very far outlook here, but I could see him even topping Tom Brady, and we can argue for Aaron Rodgers at the top of the all-time quarterback list.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. But I got to go with the Chiefs, too. Don't really need to say anything.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Chiefs, too. I mean, I guess the other three teams could be somewhat competitive and fight for a wild card spot, but they still have some holes on all their teams. I think that's pretty much all we need for the AFC West. Let's hop into the AFC South. Connor, who you got?
It's got to be Houston. I don't know. I'm just feeling really high on Houston. Deshaun Watson, he's a great quarterback. He really is, and he got the extension that he deserved, I think. Puts him second behind Deshaun Watson, or behind Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, we don't know what kind of deal Dak Prescott could get. So, I mean, who knows where Dak Prescott could fall on that list. But the departure of DeAndre Hopkins is huge. I think it may hurt him a little bit, but I also think it gives room for Will Fuller to really stand out. I mean, Will Fuller's been riddled with injuries, but he's that deep ball guy. He's a guy there in Houston who really can excel as a number one receiver if he can stay on the field. So I think Deshaun Watson has the arm and Will Fuller has the speed. If he can stay healthy, they can do some stuff there. They can work well. And David Johnson may get a resurgence there in Houston as well.
Matt, what do you think?
I'm going to agree with Connor. I got to go with the Houston Texans. I think when when we're talking about Houston and Tennessee, I would rather be comfortable taking Deshaun Watson over Ryan Tannehill. And like Connor said, Houston, when healthy, they have 3 very speedy receivers: Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, and Randall Cobb. Yeah, I know Randall Cobb gets injured like every year, so I don't think he's going to be that well. And then also in the running back position, they have David Johnson and then Duke Johnson Jr. So they have some backups that can be capable coming in when if Johnson gets hurt.
And let's not forget J.J. Watt is still in Houston. I know he gets injured a lot, and the name seems to get forgotten. But, I mean, J.J. Watt's still a force on the defensive end.
Definitely, Connor. Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Connor and Matt here. I'm going to go with the Texans. I've been a fan of Deshaun Watson since he was with Clemson. And like you said, he got that contract extension this weekend. And, yeah, I just like the Texans overall. You mentioned J.J. Watt as well. I just think they're going to play really well this year and win the division.
I kind of disagree with all you guys. I'm kind of surprised none of you guys took Tennessee. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and I'm rolling with Tennessee. I think Derrick Henry is the best runner in the NFL. I think he's going to be focused. He's going to be a more main part of the offense, even more so this year with Deion Lewis gone. Maybe he'll start catching some more balls. Another year with Ryan Tannehill. Another year of progression for A.J. Brown. They just signed Jadeveon Clowney yesterday, so that's another good addition to their already great defensive line. They picked up Christian Fulton in the draft. I think the Titans, this is the division to lose for them.
You think I think it's a division.
I wouldn't call it a division to lose.
No. Tennessee is going to win this division. I'm like,
okay, but it's
1,000%
we
sure.
can say
But that doesn't mean it's their division to lose.
Well, okay, in my opinion, it's their division to lose. And my outlook going into the season, I think Houston, the loss of DeAndre Hopkins is a big hit. And with Will Fuller, you're right, Connor. He's immensely talented. Whenever he's on the field, he puts up big numbers. But that's a huge if. He has not been able to stay healthy and throughout his whole NFL career. So I'm not putting any faith into that. And David Johnson, I do think he'll have a resurgence. Maybe same with Brandon Cooks just because of how many targets he's going to get in that offense. And with Randall Cobb, I like him. He was good for the Cowboys last year. He's a good third receiver. But anyways, any more thoughts in the South?
I just think Mike is saying all this stuff about Houston because he wants the Cowboys to be the best team in Texas.
I mean, currently, in my opinion, I do think the Cowboys are the best team in Texas.
To each his own.
Okay, moving on to the wild cards. The NFL did expand to 3 wild cards this year instead of 2, which kind of makes things interesting. So only the 1 seed will get a bye now. The 2 seed will play the 7, 3 will play the 6, and then the 4 will play the 5. So, Matt, tell us who you got for the 5, 6, and 7 seeds.
5, I got the Bills. I think, the Bills can possibly be 4 since I have Patriots at 4. 6, I have Tennessee Titans, and 7, I have Pittsburgh Steelers.
Tommy.
Yeah, so for 5, I'm going to go with the Titans, and then 6, I'm going to go with the Steelers, and then 7, I'm going to go with the Colts.
I like that pick. Interesting.
Thank you.
Connor.
So 5, I'm going to put Baltimore. I think Baltimore is still going to be an AFC wildcard team. They have to be in there. 6, I'm going to do Buffalo. And then 7, I have Tennessee. But a team that I wouldn't be surprised to make it into the wild card is the Denver Broncos. I could see.
I had them. I had them. Could be 7.
Yeah, that's where I have Denver / Tennessee. I think Denver could sneak in.
Yeah, you know what? For the 5 seed, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not the biggest believer in Ben. I just think that defense is so good. And honestly, whatever quarterback they bring in from last year is an upgrade. So, and then I got the Cleveland Browns at 6. I think bringing in Kevin Stefanski, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of him as a coach, but he fits what the Browns should be doing on offense, which is extremely run heavy with the little 2-headed dragon in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And then I got Houston sneaking in And at the 7th seed, I think Deshaun Watson will find a way to win enough games for Houston to make the playoffs.
So if you have Houston going in at 7, can you just give us like a kind of record that you see for Tennessee to win that division?
Probably 10-6, 10-6, maybe 11-5, maybe
That's-
11-5.
That's not that bad.
It's reasonable. I see that.
And then Houston probably 9-7, 8-8, sneaking into the last spot.
So Tommy and Mike, you guys don't have New England making the playoffs at all.
I
No.
don't know. I don't know. I think they're still gonna be competitive. I just don't feel. I think they'll be very close to it. It might come down to the final game of the regular season, but I just don't have them getting in this year.
I think for New England, I have them winning the division, but I think for New England, it's either they're going to win the division or they're not going to make the playoffs. I truly think that's what it is. Is they're either going to be still a solid, very good team there that can contend, or they're going to stink straight out.
Mm-hmm. I think with New England, I'm starting to buy the Cam hype a little. All the reports have been coming out saying he looks really healthy in camp, but I just think that they've lost too much on. I mean, their defense is still amazing. They still have the best secondary in the league, the best corner in the league, definitely. But I think losing Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins, and plus they already don't have any any options on offense. You got Julian Edelman, and that's about it. You got a plethora of running backs in the backfield, but I just don't think Cam has enough weapons to truly take that offense to a new level that Brady can do. So I that's why I probably have New England as the 8th seed. I just put Houston over them because of Deshaun Watson. I think he'll just find a way to win enough games.
So pretty much that's our AFC rundown there. Let's kind of just swing it. Let's keep on moving right into the NFC. I think the NFC is definitely the entire conference to watch this year. I think our Super Bowl champion is going to come out of the NFC. But we can get into that, I guess, later. But let's go right into the NFC East. I guess, Mike, we'll start with you. Get your talking out of the way quick.
It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to go too in-depth in this. I think they just got better throughout the offseason, through the draft, through free agency. I think bringing Mike McCarthy and a brand new coaching staff is very big. I don't want to say too much and, buy the hype as of yet, because at the end of the day, they are the Dallas Cowboys, and they've just been disappointing ever since they won the last Super Bowl. So I don't want to get too excited for the Cowboys. I think they could be a very, very good team this year. I do think that they're going to win the East in part to how much talent they have on the roster and the new coaching staff. And the Eagles have lost a lot of players, 2 very key players on the offensive line for the whole season. So I'm rolling with Dallas here in the East.
Tommy, who you going with?
I actually am going to agree with Mike on this one. I think that the Cowboys are going to win the division. And like you said, I think that the coaching staff with Jason Garrett is what was holding him back these past couple of years. I think that, everybody recognized how talented the roster was, and they felt that the coaching staff was holding him back, and I agree. And I just think that this is finally their year to, make that playoff push and get into the postseason.
Matt, what's your pick?
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles here. I think that the Cowboys are very talented on offense. They have a lot of weapons, so much more weapons, so many more weapons than the Eagles. But I just think at the Eagles' point, Carson Wentz, you have a backup quarterback coming in. They traded up for, I'm pretty sure. You have your offensive line injured. You pretty much have no wide receivers. Your back is against the wall. I think this is where Carson Wentz is going to shine. I think he's going to have a great year, breakout year for him. I love Zach Ertz at the tight end position. I've loved Zach Ertz since he came into the league, paired up with Dallas Goedert. And the defense, they got Nikhil Roby-Coleman and Darius Slay, 2 new corners. So I think the ceiling is higher for the Cowboys. I think that the Cowboys have more potential to win, but I'm going to roll with the Eagles. I think Cowboys will be a great team. I'm not going to deny that. It's going to be very tight, but I'm going to roll with the Eagles here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Matt. I mean, he kind of said everything else. Don't make a face at me, Mike, please.
That was barely a phase.
I mean, Matt threw out a lot of it. I definitely think that Carson Wentz, he performs the best under pressure. And now he has Jalen Hurts looking over his back, trying to take that starting position. I mean, Jalen Hurts isn't coming into the NFL as a second round pick, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a second-round pick, he's not coming in to be a backup. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench in Philadelphia. So if he gets an opportunity, if Carson Wentz goes down with an injury again and Jalen Hurts shines, maybe that's now Jalen Hurts' team. So I don't think Carson Wentz is going to allow that to happen. Being the competitor that he is, I think Carson Wentz does shine. I think the ceiling is very high for Carson Wentz this year. And he doesn't have a lot of talented receivers on the outside, but Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert are two very talented tight ends. Underrated, I would say. Both very underrated. Zach Ertz doesn't get enough talk. I'm going to roll with the Eagles here.
Well, I think you guys are kind of missing them losing Andre Dillard, their left tackle, to torn bicep throughout the year.
They've always had offensive line injuries, though. That's the thing. And Carson Wentz last year, I mean, I'm pretty sure they didn't have a healthy offensive line throughout the whole season. I don't think they've had a steady offensive line throughout the whole season. And he still manages, with 0 wide receivers, like barely, he still manages to get 4,000 yards and didn't have one wide receiver over 500 yards. That's absolutely unbelievable.
He put him in the playoffs. And then who knows if they win that game if Carson Wentz is playing. Obviously,
they would have won that game if Carson Wentz played.
Right.
What do you mean? His first 3 drives were punt.
He was 0 for 4 or something. It's not like he threw like every play of those drives.
I understand, but the offense went punt the first 3 drives while Seattle scored 17 points that game. How do you expect – how are you going to sit there and say, yes, they could have won that game, but it's not a sure fact that Philadelphia is going out there and winning that game if Carson Wentz stays in?
We don't know if it's a surefire fact. We just think that it would happen. That's all.
Okay, well.
Because of how talented Carson Wentz is. I mean, we got to remember, his rookie year, he was a shoo-in for the MVP until he tore his ACL.
His second year.
Second year. He was a shoo-in for the MVP. I mean,
finished second in touchdowns in 5 less games.
Yes, I mean, Nick Foles stepped in and they won the Super Bowl that year, which, I mean, may taint Carson Wentz's season that a little bit because Nick Foles still won the Super Bowl with him. But, I mean, Carson Wentz, that's an MVP caliber guy, and if he stays healthy, he's out there on that field, and he can live up to that MVP potential.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at this. Since that MVP season, he has not played as well. His 3rd year in the NFL, he was 6-7 before he got hurt. Nick Foles took him to the playoffs and won a playoff game for them. And then last year, yeah, he had a great season. He won the games he needed to win. And I'll just leave it at that. I think Carson Wentz is a really good quarterback, but I think losing the best left guard in the NFL, Brandon Brooks, and a pretty good left tackle in Andre Dillard, plus Jalen Reagor already being hurt, and then Alshon Jeffrey out for a while. I think it's a big hit. Plus the Eagles, their linebacking corps is completely depleted. So I'll just leave it there. I think Dallas is winning this division.
I guess, I mean, we're not going to change each other's minds. I guess we should just move into the NFC North here. Matt, I'm going to start with you. This pick's very obvious for you.
Go Pack, Green Bay. I don't really need to get into it unless someone wants to really just attack me right now.
Tommy, you're wearing the Packers color. You're going to agree with Matt?
Of course, yeah. I think that the Packers are going to win the division again. And, yeah, there's not too much to say about this one. I just think they're the strongest team out of the North.
Mike?
I'm going with Minnesota. I think the Packers will make the playoffs, but I'm going with Minnesota here. I think the Packers overachieved a little bit last year. They didn't have any weapons they could use on offense. They had A.J. Dillon, who's like the 3rd-string running back right now. Jordan Love, a backup quarterback. I think that Packers will probably be like 9-7, 10-6, while Minnesota's going to be 10-6 and have that tiebreaker, I think.
Did they really need to add any – I mean, I'm going to throw out my pick here. It's Green Bay. Did they really need to add any weapons? They still have one of the top receivers outside in Devontae Adams.
I understand, but –
No, stop. It doesn't matter who you put on him. He's going to catch the ball, and he's going to have 100 yards a game, and he's going to get in the end zone 10 times in a season. And he still has Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to him, and a young Matt LaFleur. Last year was his 1st year, right? This is his 2nd year as the head coach.
Yeah.
He's just gaining more chemistry with these guys. So maybe as a younger coach, and they didn't want to bring more people in because they had such good chemistry last year. They were 13-3. They made it to the NFC Championship game.
I completely understand that, but they were in a lot of one-possession games. And
the team's going to go from 13-3 to 10-6.
That's not out of the ordinary. The Cowboys, In 2016, we're 13-3. The next year, they're 9-7. It's not a big deal. I think the Packers got into a lot of one-possession games last year in which they could have lost. And listen, the coin flipped the other way. I understand they technically won those games. Yes, I get it. But the coin could flip the other way, and I think that's going to happen.
I don't think it is because Aaron Rodgers is a game manager. That's what he is. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's a game manager. So he's clutch in those one-possession games. He's clutch when his team is down 3 points, and he has to drive them down the field in a 2-minute drill and kick a field goal to tie the game or to score a touchdown. That's what Aaron Rodgers is known for. So if I'm going to be honest, if I want to see Green Bay in games, yeah, I'm sure as Matt, as a Green Bay fan, would love to see them go out and blow them out. But right now, if there's a quarterback in the league who I'm trusting in a 2-minute drill, it's Aaron freaking Rodgers.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, yes, they should have drafted a wide receiver. I 100% agree. But he doesn't need. He's that type of quarterback that doesn't need a first-round pick wide receiver. He's thrown one touchdown to a first-round pick his whole career. Last year, the Packers, I don't even think they really drafted – well, they drafted a couple late wide receivers. Undrafted wide receiver Alan Lazard, who's looking like the number 2 right now, had a terrific year at the end of the year. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need the insane amount of talent to get to the playoffs, to win that division. Maybe to win a Super Bowl, I will say he might need more talent. But when you're talking about winning a division, Aaron Rodgers doesn't need a lot.
I'm just saying that,
and let's talk about the Vikings. Losing Stephon Diggs. You don't know what Justin Jefferson's going to do. They lost a couple pieces on their defense. Kirk Cousins, I think Kirk Cousins is actually pretty good, but people say that he's not clutch at all. But, I mean, I think Dalvin Cook's going to play, but I heard that he might hold out. I have no idea. But those are just also a lot of risks that you're taking with the Vikings, too.
And I think another thing is, who's Kirk Cousins really going to throw the ball to? I mean, I know Adam Thielen is there, but now without the second addition in Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen's going to have a safety over him on every play. So they're going to have to rely on the rookie Justin Jefferson, who was really good in LSU, but who knows if that can translate into the NFL against these NFL-type cornerbacks and safeties.
I think Justin Jefferson will be a really good number 2 option for Minnesota, and I think Dalvin Cook is on a contract year. He's going to bring his game to another level. And I just think the Vikings have a better all-around team. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is better than Kirk Cousins. Yes, Devontae Adams is better than Adam Thielen. But they just added Yannick Ngakoue. Their defense is still really good. They got Danielle Hunter and Harrison Smith at the safety position. So I got to roll with the Vikings here. I still think the Packers are making the playoffs. I just think that the coin flipped for them the right way on a lot of one-possession games. And you could talk about, yes, Aaron Rodgers being a great game manager and being a great clutch quarterback, but I just think that they got a little bit lucky, and I feel like luck won't be on their side as much this year.
Let's move into the NFC South. I feel like this is a good division. This is a very good secret division. It may fly under the radar quite a bit. I mean, Atlanta's really revamped. They have Todd Gurley. New Orleans didn't have to do much, and then Tampa Bay is looking absolutely incredible. So who's your guys' picks, Matt?
I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to buy the Tampa Bay hype after getting Leonard Fournette, but I'm going to go safe here with Drew Brees and Michael Thomas in New Orleans.
Mike?
I'm buying the Tampa Bay hype fully. Let's go Tampa Bay. They're winning this division.
Tommy?
I'm going to agree with Mike there. I think that the Bucs are going to win the division. They have Brady, Gronk, Fournette. I just think that they've added a lot of really good pieces. They're going to take them to the next level, and they're going to be really competitive this year.
I'm going to have to buy into the Tampa Bay hype as well. I just think New Orleans is a great team, and I absolutely still see them making the playoffs. But New Orleans a lot of times is involved in those high-scoring games. And, I mean, yes, they have the offensive power to do it. But, I mean, that defense, the New Orleans defense has not been known to be very good. And Tampa Bay now has a very good all-around team where if they were to get into a high-powered game with some shootouts against Tampa Bay and New Orleans, maybe it's on a game to decide the division, I think that Tampa Bay defense stands up when they need to most. I don't even have to talk about the Tampa Bay offense. I mean, Godwin, Evans, Fournette, Brady, maybe Gronk. Maybe Gronk. Who knows? Who really knows what we're going to see out of this team? I just see a lot of firepower names, a lot of superstar names on there, so that's why I'm going to buy it.
Well, to the Saints' credit, I think the Saints definitely do have a better defense than the Bucks. You look at their defensive line; they got Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport, and in their secondary, you got Marshall Lattimore, and they just added Malcolm Jenkins in the offseason. I feel like Tampa Bay, yeah, they have a really good pass rush and everything, but they added Antoine Woodfield in the draft. I'm a little nervous about their outside corners, but I think their offense is just going to be extraordinary, which is why I'm rolling with them.
Yeah, I don't blame you guys for buying into the Tampa Bay hype. I just think that New Orleans, Drew Brees thinks this is his last year. I would like to say that, but who knows? I think Drew Brees is going to really work his butt off for this year.
I mean, there's no doubt New Orleans can win this division 100%. I just think Tampa Bay is going to be a surprise this year. I think they might be a lot like New England, where they either win the division or they miss the playoffs.
So let's finish this off with the NFC West. Great division. You have the 49ers, Seahawks, those type of teams. Tommy, who do you think is going to win the NFC West?
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I kind of wanted to go with the 49ers because they won. They made it to the Super Bowl last year, but I don't know. I just think that the Seahawks are going to have a good year. Obviously, Russell Wilson's still very productive over there. So that's who I'm going to go with.
Mike?
I'm going with Seattle too. I think the addition of Jamal Adams is really big. It's really going to take that defense to a whole another level. And then you got another year of DK Metcalf getting better. His connection with Russell Wilson improving. So I'm going with the Seahawks here. I really like them this year.
Connor?
I'm going with Seattle. Russell Wilson's going to be the league's MVP this year, so it's definitely Seattle Seahawks division.
Yep, I got to go with the Seattle Seahawks too. Predicted Russell Wilson MVP like Connor, so got to go with the Seahawks. So we could just quickly do our wild card games wild card teams for the NFC. 5, 6, 7. Connor, might as well start with you.
So I have another NFC North team on here, but it's not Minnesota. Chicago Bears.
Who at quarterback? Who do you think?
Trubisky.
You think? Oh.
I'm giving him one more year. He's seeing the quarterbacks in his class getting paid, and I mean, let's think. He had this team 12-4 a couple years ago. Now, I mean, a lot of that credit is to the defense, but I see Chicago. I am a big fan of the Chicago team. I'm not completely sold yet on Mr. Trubisky. I think he could have it. I think he has it. And I mean, if he doesn't, then you still have Nick Foles there to step in week 4 or 5 if he doesn't have it, and you still have enough time to make it into that wild card. So it's definitely Chicago there, and then New Orleans and San Francisco.
Mike?
I'm kind of surprised there with the Chicago pick, but I got New Orleans with the first wild card, and then San Francisco with the second wild card. I think they'll have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, but they'll be okay to make the playoffs. And Green Bay squeaking in for the last wild card.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints, 49ers, and Eagles for my wild card teams because I think the Eagles could win that division there over the Cowboys, but, you know, I think ultimately in the end they're going to be a wild card team, so that's who I am.
I got 5 Tampa Bay, 6 Dallas, and 7 Minnesota. So I will say Minnesota will make the division. I'm not buying in the San Francisco second year hype or whatever. I don't even know if there's hype or not. So,
Connor, you don't got Dallas making the playoffs?
I don't. I really don't. I take it back to our NFC East conversation a couple of minutes ago where you said that Carson Wentz's numbers since his second year have all been downhill. Dak Prescott's numbers since his rookie year have all been downhill, really. Maybe the passing yards have been up, but there's been no other production.
What are you talking about? He's a quarterback. He scored like 6 rushing touchdowns in his first 3 years. I'm pretty sure he scored 4 last year. He only improved immensely as a passer last year, almost throwing for 5,000 yards, 30-plus touchdowns, and he kept his interceptions somewhat low. And you add CeeDee Lamb, you put Everson Griffin on the defensive line.
Here's the thing, though. As a big NFL fan, I don't give a single crap about stats. I don't care how many yards you throw for. I don't care how many interceptions you throw for. I don't care about the touchdowns. At the end of the game, the only stats I care about is the win-loss record at the end of the year.
You want to talk about win-loss?
Stop. He had a chance to win the division in week 16 and 17, and they didn't. They choked, just like Dallas always did, and they handed it to the Philadelphia Eagles. So until Dak Prescott can prove to me that he can win those games, he can win the games that matter, and he can make the stats that matter better in the win category than the loss category, I am not sold on the Dallas Cowboys. I don't care if they add CeeDee Lamb or not. I don't care if they extend Amari Cooper or not. I don't care about any of that. Until you can have a better win-loss record, I don't care how many yards. I don't care how many rushing touchdowns. I don't care about any of that.
Okay.
The win-loss record are the only stats that matter in any sport, really. Sure, you're going to have an MVP, whatever. But that's the only thing that matters is the win and loss. And until you do that, I'm not sold.
Okay, I just want to say Dak Prescott is tied for the first best record throughout his first 4 years at 40-24 with Russell Wilson. So if you want to talk about winning throughout his career, Dak Prescott has done that. I'll just leave it at that. We'll let our viewers, think amongst themselves and decide if Dallas will make the playoffs or not. I feel like that's something to think about at least there.
Do we want to give Super Bowl picks just quickly?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine is New Orleans over Kansas City.
I got Tampa Bay over Kansas City. I'm rolling Tampa Bay all the way. They're going to have a home Super Bowl. Those fans are going to be rabid. Tampa Bay is winning the whole thing. Let's go.
Tommy?
Seattle over Kansas City.
Yeah, this is tough. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Kansas City over Tampa Bay, I think. I'm going to do the opposite of Mike.
Well, Connor, so you got Jamal Adams winning a Super Bowl.
I don't care about Jamal Adams. I don't care about Jamal Adams. I'm talking about Russell Wilson. I don't care.
You don't care about Jamal Adams? You brought him up in the go to the number 33 as the biggest crybaby.
I called him a baby.
Yeah. He's also a great player.
Russell Wilson's going to win the MVP, and he's going to take this team all the way.
All right. Well, we'll just have to see what happens. We'll wait for the season. Very excited, but we'll move right into our GOAT picks next.
Hey, everybody. We're back for our Pick'em segment this week. We're going to start with a big baseball matchup, the Yankees against the Toronto Blue Jays in Buffalo. It's a big series because they're tied for second place right now in the AL East. Guys, who do you have? I'll start with you, Connor.
All right, well, before I make my pick, I'll just throw the leaderboard up now. You see I'm still in first place. Are you guys all for a three-way tie?
Yeah.
Yo, so that's big. And then, I mean, obviously, we're recording on Sunday, so we don't know the finish to the A's-Padres series, but they're tied 1 apiece. You guys are going to give me another win there. I mean, you guys are just falling farther and farther behind. But as far as the Jays and the Yankees, I'm going to go with the Yankees here. I think they're going to bounce back. I think Gleyber Torres, he's out of the lineup today against Baltimore. They're still playing Baltimore, right, Tommy?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he's out of the lineup today against Baltimore, but I think that may just be like another day of rest. He's coming off the IL. Maybe Gary Sanchez can get a bat going. Who really knows with him anymore? So I'm going to roll with the Yankees here, though. I think they'll take back over control of second place in the East.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Who do you have, Mike?
I'm going with the Blue Jays. I mean, listen, don't put too much faith in Gary Sanchez. I'll just leave it at that. Even Tommy has some questions about him now. I'm going with the Blue Jays here. They got Hyun-Jin Ryu in Game 1. I think that's a win. And then they got Taijuan Walker, who's actually been pitching pretty good this year. And the Yankees got J.A. Happ on the mound. We know what J.A. Happ does. So he's a load of garbage. I'll just leave it at that.
What do you?
Taijuan Walker has a 3 ERA right now. I think the Blue Jays win the first 2 games and win the series. I don't know what happens in Game 3. All I know is that the Blue Jays are winning the series.
Mike, J-Happ beat the Mets like he dominated them. But
is that an accomplishment?
Hey, I mean, you called him. I don't even know what you called him. That was terrible. All right, who do you have, Matt?
As much as I like to make fun of the Yankees, I'm actually going to roll with them today.
Hey, it's a good pick. And I'm going to go with the Yankees as well. I think they're going to break out of it at some point, right? I mean, they're such a talented team. And I just think that, they're too good of a team not to break out of it. And they have to right now because, I mean, they're in trouble. If they lose this series and, big picture here, they play the Blue Jays 10 times this month. So these are all big games against them when they're tied. I think that they're going to break out and win this series.
Well, we can move it over to the NHL. We have game 1 tonight at 8, the New York Islanders versus Tampa Bay Lightning. Connor, who are you rolling with game 1?
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay here. I just think coming off a really scrapped out round with the Philadelphia Flyers, I think
Boston.
the Islanders – huh?
The Bruins played the Lightning.
No, I'm talking about the Islanders here.
Oh, who would you pick?
I'm picking the Lightning.
Okay, I got lost. Go ahead.
Lightning, I think with the Islanders coming off of a scrapped out battle with the Philadelphia Flyers there that just finished last night to jump right back in, I think they'll come out, they'll play a little sluggish. So I'll take the Lightning taking game 1.
Mike?
I think this is actually tougher than advertised because the Islanders did beat the Flyers 4-0 in game 7. They absolutely dominated that game. But I'll roll with the Lightning here. I think they've been playing so well this whole playoffs, especially if it goes to OT. It's the Lightning. It's the Lightning's game to lose. The Islanders have lost every game in OT this playoffs, while the Lightnings have won every game in OT in this playoffs. So the Islanders are going to need to win in regulation, and I just think the Lightning are too good. I think they'll win game 1.
I'm going to roll with the Lightning too. Tommy, are you going to finish us off with the Lightning?
I am, yeah. I have the Lightning wing the whole thing in my bracket. So I just think they're a really good team and they're going to win.
It's always about Tommy's bracket. Good to follow.
I'm doing well in that one, though, right? So
yeah, you're in first, so it's good to follow your bracket.
Well, now we'll just kind of swing it right on over to the NBA. We have game 5 in the East. Celtics, Raptors. Celtics were up 2-0. Then we got a game 3 buzzer beater. Yeah, Mike's a little upset there. And game 4, the Celtics kind of threw it away there, too. So now the series is tied. Game 5, who's our picks? I'm going to start off first here. The Raptors have all the momentum. I'm going to keep pushing with the Raptors. The Raptors win game 5, and they will clinch the series in game 6. Matt, who's your pick?
I'm going to go with the Raptors, too. I think they played a great 2 games. Nothing against the Celtics. I think they're a pretty good team. But Kyle Lowry played great. So.
Tommy?
I'm going to agree here. I am going to go with the Raptors. I think that they're just a better team than the Celtics. I don't know. I think they're going to win the series. I think the Celtics are really good, Mike, but I don't know. I just have a feeling with the Raptors.
Mike has the face of defeat. I think he might pick the Raptors here. Mike, what's your pick?
It's just disappointing because the Celtics were 0.5 seconds away from putting this series away. It was a it was a Hail Mary pass, great shot. The Raptors did win that game on a miscommunication, and then it came out they deserved game 4, and now it's a 3-game series. I think the Celtics shot the ball so badly last game. They hit 7 threes. I think that's their lowest in their franchise playoff history, hitting 7 threes in one game. They shot 20% from 3. Jaylen Brown played horrible. I think he was a little rattled from that game 3 mistake, but it's tough because I want to pick the Celtics, and I'm going to pick the Celtics to come out and bounce back in game 5. Do I think the Raptors can bounce back in game 5? 100%, but I'm putting my chips in the middle and going with the Celtics here. I'm just throwing a Hail Mary right now. I got to roll with my team.
Hail Mary. I'm just thinking about Aaron Rodgers right now. Anyone else? He said it twice, too. It's like just repeating in my head every Hail Mary that Aaron Rodgers thrown.
Now, for another pick, not really for any points or anything, did the Heat sweep today? They play at 3:30. No, serious question. Did the Heat sweep?
Yes.
I don't know if they sweep. I don't know if they'll sweep. I guess I'll just take the Bucks. I'll go with the safe pick, but the safe pick has not been safe this whole playoffs. I don't think the Bucks are gonna get swept. That'd be a really embarrassing thing. But the Heat got the series in the bag, just like the Celtics would have. If only they get the. My gosh! Don't even get me started on that Game 3 buzzer beater. But I'll take the Bucks. I guess I don't really care. Heat or winning the series, it doesn't matter.
Tommy.
Yeah, I would take the Bucks too. I just think it's hard to believe that Giannis would get swept. When many were predicting them to win the whole thing, and I agree. I don't think that's going to happen now. But I have faith in Giannis to win at least one game.
Also, just a little disclaimer: Giannis right now is questionable for the game. He came down in the first quarter in Game 3 on his ankle, and it kind of tweaked it a little bit. And the Heat played it to their advantage in Game 3, kind of took over there in the fourth quarter. And then, I mean, they're going to come out. They're going to win today. I have a really good feeling the Heat are going to go into the Eastern Conference Finals. And it doesn't matter who wins the Celtics Raptors series. The Heat are making it to the finals.
I think if the Raptors win the series, I think the Heat are definitely making it to the finals. I think with the Celtics, I think it'll probably go 7 games.
I think the Heat are going to make it to the finals too, to be honest. But we can move into the GOAT of the week. I think we need to get this episode over with, guys. All right, we'll be back. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back with the GOAT of the week. If you look at the leaderboard, there's a new leader, and I just want to say quick speech. I would like to quote Michael Scott in saying, well, how the turntables.
Well. How the turntables.
He stopped there because, he's pretty idiotic. But, I'd like to go back to the jokes and the ridicule about me being on the bottom. I think pretty sure I had 2 while everyone else had 4. So everyone was just, throwing jokes at me about being at the bottom.
Matt, we'll start with you. You're still there on the bottom, but it's okay. On the bottom and pick'ems, on the bottom and go to the week.
But now I'm on the top. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James. I'm so humbled to be the king of the Go Chat. King of Go to the week. I'm not going to say king of Go Chat. But I am so humbled to be at this position. And Dane, take some notes about being on the bottom to get to the top. I've really done this, and I'm going to do it with the Go picks. I promise one day. But we'll get into the Go of the week. I've rambled enough. Tommy, who is your Go of the week?
Well, I think I have to start writing my speech for next week because I think that I'm going to
You
win.
would be tied.
I know, but it's an accomplishment to even be in a tie. But I'm going to go with Mike Trout this week. He had a really good week overall. He had 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, and he walked 9 times. But the biggest accomplishment that he had this week was he hit his 300th career home run, setting the Angels' all-time home run record, passing Tim Salmon. We all know that Mike Trout's the best player in the game. It's not even a question at this point. And to hit 300 home runs at his age is very impressive. So have to go with Mike Trout for Go of the Week.
I think we need to look back at episode 27 where Tommy did not pick Mike Trout originally.
Well, I did forget he was number 27. I don't know what I was thinking that week. It's disappointing. I'll admit it. But, I've realized it this week, and I'm going to win. So I'm looking forward to it.
Mike, who do you got?
Well, first one, I didn't know the Angels love all their fish. First, they got Tim Salmon in the leader of the home runs list. Now they get Mike Trout. I know that was a really bad joke. I had to bring up. I was like, Tim Salmon, Mike Trout. What's going on? Anyways, it has to be Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets.
Connor loves this pick. I got to roll with him. I was thinking about picking Anunoby because if not for Anunoby, or even for Kyle Lowry throwing that ball over 7'5" Taco Fall with an 8-foot wingspan, the Raptors are eliminated from the playoffs, practically, right? But Jimmy Butler, he's taken over this playoffs for the Miami Heat. Without Jimmy Butler, the Heat, I don't even know if they win around. Jimmy Butler has been so key for them in the fourth quarter. These are his stats in the fourth quarter through the playoffs. Averages 8.4 points in the quarter, 59 field goal percentage, 50% from 3, and 85% free throw percentage. Not only this, but in Game 3, he outscored the whole Milwaukee Bucks team in the fourth quarter. He was not playing well most of the game. He comes up and shows up in the fourth quarter, scores 17 points while the Bucks only scored 14. Jimmy Butler, it has to be him. Without Jimmy Butler, where are the Heat? They're probably eliminated from the playoffs right now. Jimmy Butler is such a key cog. Me, Matt, and Tommy, we kind of missed out on how impactful he can be to a team, really. I think we kind of saw that last year with the Sixers, but we're really seeing it now with the Heat, as the Heat have not lost a game this whole playoffs, and the Heat are killing it. Has to be Jimmy Butler.
I'll tell you one thing. The guy needs to shave. But
that is true. I feel like if he like shaved a little bit, maybe like the air resistance against him like going to the rim, he could be just that much quicker. You know what I mean? Just that much quicker.
It just looks like taco meat. Like it's, oh man.
Like a
Connor.
really hairy caterpillar on his upper lip.
Oh yeah, I know. Connor, who's your go of the week?
Matt, that was a great speech. I absolutely loved it. Mike, thank you for the little hidden credit there saying that you, Tommy, and Mike or Matt were against the ball with the Heat. I'll take it. But my pick for this week is going to be Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets. Not only did he lead the Nuggets to a Game 7 win and a great series against the Utah Jazz, but what I really took away from that was the social justice messages on his shoes. He had a picture of Breonna Taylor, Black Lives Matter, enough is enough, when's it going to end, all written all over his shoes. And we saw after Game 7, he had an interview, and after that he went into the tunnel and he knelt down, and you just saw him overcome with emotion, because to these NBA players now, and specifically Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell, have been very big spokespeople. LeBron James as well, Chris Paul, really all of them have been huge spokespeople for this Black Lives Matter movement and all the social reformities. So seeing him just overcome with emotion was really, it touched a lot of people. And obviously they fell down 1-0 in the series against the Clippers, and then he had a really good game. Him and Jokic both had really good games last night, but they fought back for a Game 2 when we really saw a new Nuggets team there. Maybe that makes that series competitive. Who knows? But it's got to be Jamal Murray here for me. I mean, he had a great week, and he definitely is standing up for social reformities.
Sheesh. Did you see Jamal Murray take Kawhi Leonard's ankles? That was insane. That was.
Don't disrespect Kawhi Leonard. He's the
I'm
best
not.
player.
I'm just saying.
He's the best
Kawhi
player.
to like sprint back to try to get a block off.
Game 2 is not Kawhi's game.
No,
I think that's the worst I've ever seen him play.
0 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, not good.
That's the best player in the NBA. 0 points in the fourth quarter.
I mean, that was his only
Let's not
bad game in the bubble. Only bad game.
Going into my go of the week, I gotta go with Oscar Lindblom. Oscar, if you guys don't know, in December he had Ewing's is it Ewing's sarcoma, which is a rare bone disease. He had to go through chemo to get past that, and he ended his chemo, I want to say, in July. And on Thursday, he played his first game back with the Philadelphia Flyers. So really feel good story. I had to go with that. I wanted to go with Cable Makar, one of my favorite players in the NHL, but for his point streak. But it's definitely Oscar Lindblom's. It's definitely a feel good story, even though the Flyers didn't make it past the Islanders.
And that's a great pick there, Matt. You know, when I saw the report that he was coming back I think he came back in Game 6, right? Or was it Game 7? He came back in Game 6.
Played a lot of minutes too.
Yeah, so big shout out to him, fighting through a horrible disease like that. But before we end the episode, Connor, I mean, Matt, you got to send like a gift basket or something to Luka Doncic, because he's carried you to the top of the go of the week. I mean, without Luka Doncic, you'd be back at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I owe Luka Doncic a lot, but and a little to LeBron. I'm not gonna lie, I can't stand LeBron, but I owe him a little.
Well, I don't think we're gonna let you guys or force you guys to stare at our mugs anymore, hear our voices. You'll have to wait until Thursday for that with the NFL draft coming up. It'll be a lot of fun. Obviously, you saw how much fun we had with the MLB. Maybe another live trade we're gonna have between me and Tommy or me and Mike.
No one take advantage of Tommy.
Who really knows? But until then, just keep hitting that like button, keep subscribing, keep following on Instagram. After Thursday, we're gonna have a little bit of a break off, and then we'll be back on Wednesday with a new episode. So just be on the lookout for that. Adjust your calendars. We'll be back on Thursday. Open a night of football. We'll see you guys then.